All of the books that are going to be reviewed in this video are newly released books that were released this year. And I'm going to start off with one of my very most anticipated books of this year. Is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is the third book in the trilogy. The first book, Powerless, I did like. The novella, Powerful, I liked as well. Reckless, the second book, was kind of a nothing burger for me, so I didn't particularly enjoy it. It was just okay. But I'm having a lot of anticipation for Fearless, especially if you've read Reckless, you know how it ends. So I'm wondering what's going to happen. I'm not going to give a synopsis for this one because, this is the third book in the trilogy and I don't want to spoil anything, especially for those of you who have not even started the first book. This is actually a little bit thicker than I was anticipating. Let me see how many pages. Almost 600 pages. Oh my gosh. Wow, okay. Also, I know it's been a little bit since I last posted, but that doesn't mean I haven't been reading. I have read books and they were actually newly released books, and I'll be giving you a review of them a little bit later on in this video, but for now I do want to read Fearless and then I'll update you on all of the books that I've been reading. But I hope you've been well and let's get to reading, and I'm just excited. Let's see how good this is.
I can't get enough.
Hello! I just bought a bunch of coffee beans or espresso beans. My father-in-law really likes the one from our local coffee shop, so I'm gonna give some to him. It smells so good! I've listened to the audiobook for some of Powerless and some of Reckless, and I'm glad I did because I find that the voice actor for Kai is really fitting for the character, and I think it scratches a certain itch in my brain when I hear his voice for Kai. That being said, I can hear that voice actor's voice in my head as I'm reading Kai's POV. And speaking of point of views, we are introduced to a new one in this book, and I think it gives a little bit of a background for the whole story to be full. I'm not sure entirely how yet, but it seems like it's going to play an important part, which I appreciate that because I think it gives a little bit more depth to the book. And then I also just like being introduced to new elites and see what their powers are. It's fun to know what different powers Lauren Roberts has come up with for the different elites. So far, I am a little bit more than halfway through the book, and I think it's interesting. I feel like this book is going to be the best out of the three. It's a lot more meaty for sure than Reckless, and it has the potential to do a lot more than Powerless. I'm enjoying it. I have some theories about what's going on here, so I'm curious to see if I'm right. Also, there's one part I got a little bit almost teary-eyed. Yeah, it was page 398. So far I'm enjoying this book. Of course you can say, yeah.
I don't wanna call you later. You're tearing my heart up like it's paper.
I took a shower.
Turn to a stranger. We used to work, now I'm trying to make sure that we're both on the same page.
Surprise! I'm in Korea now. That last clip you saw was me reading the epilogue of Fearless in my car in front of the library the night before I had to leave for coming here. The commitment I had to finishing this book before I had to come here and returning it. But I finished it. I was right in that I did like this book the best out of all four books. And I was somewhat right with my theories. Not 100%, but the guessing game was kind of fun. There was one modern word slang use, which for a fantasy book, they use old-timey language. It kind of popped out at me reading that word, and it took me out of the book a little bit, but it was fine. Other than that, it was fine. It was a fun read, so I'm giving it a 4 stars. So I said earlier that I have been reading newly released books, just haven't been filming it very well. So back in January, I read Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. This is a classic, scrumptious Sarah Adams book. It had the heartwarming, cute details that I love from When in Rome. It's an enemies to lovers trope where she accidentally emails a manuscript of her book to her boss, which is the school principal because she's a teacher, and then she enlists the help of the MMC to prevent her boss from reading it, so they're trying to delete the email before he can read the email. So I know that's the synopsis, but just on that synopsis alone wouldn't compel me to read this book. I read this book because it's by Sarah Adams. So in the end, I feel like the synopsis doesn't and didn't do the book justice because it wasn't the main part of the book. I feel like it was just a part of the book, and I feel like the book had a little bit more depth to it compared to what was advertised on the back of the book. But I guess that situation is the catalyst for the beginning of that relationship. So It had a lot more layers to it, which is a good thing, and that means it has more depth. So I did like this book, but if I were to critique it though, I would say I don't particularly understand the reason for the rivalry. It seemed a little bit juvenile to me. I was kind of like, why are you guys even fighting? It's been years and you're still kind of fighting like children a little bit. Like that part I didn't really understand, but that's okay. And then the third act conflict wasn't an eye roll, so I was thankful for that. Overall, I enjoyed the read and I gave it 4 stars. Still in January, I read Only in Your Dreams by Ellie K. Wilde. This is a new author to me and it's a brother's best friend trope. Basically, our 2 main characters had a thing back in high school and they almost got together, but right before they were about to get together, he ghosted her and it just lasted for like several years. So we're reading the part where they suddenly get back in touch somehow after all these years. And I filmed my reaction to that, so here's that. Hi, we're in Canada. We've been here for a few days. This is the view from our hotel room. That's pretty there. So I finished Only in Your Dreams. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars because I felt like there were some kind of plot holes just a little bit and it wasn't really easy to follow the storyline. And also it didn't really keep me super interested. Like I really had to try to keep reading and get myself interested. But yeah, 3.5 stars. I mean, it wasn't terrible. If there's another book that she writes, then I'll try to reach for it if it goes viral. But otherwise, this one was just okay. Also, if you're the type of person who needs escapism when you read a book and you need the MMC to have a lot of things going for him, this is not the book for you. I felt like, it's not a laughing matter, but I felt like he was just kind of trying not to get fired the whole time. I'm not looking for total escapism, but I don't want to feel like all this like uncertainty. But I did feel sorry for the guy. The poor thing kind of feeling. So it wasn't like oh, he's so cool. If anything, it kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, a little bit reminds me of Miles in Emily Henry's Funny Story. It was just not the kind of guy you normally meet in a romantic novel where the guy is usually very like, wow, all of his specs are so good kind of thing. Next, I read Change of Heart by Fallon Ballard, which is about our workaholic FMC being transported to this fictional town. And to get out, she has to complete these little challenges. So the whole point of her being transported to this new fictional town is so that she learns to slow down and not be a workaholic and realizes who her MMC is in her own story.
We sit in silence with your rifle by my ear. I'd eat venison forever.
I'm currently reading in the car on my phone while I'm waiting for Moon to finish up. Because I have an ebook on my phone, I can read whenever I have any lull in time, just waiting for something. So I'm happy to have this kind of hobby. I like the book so far. I'm gonna keep reading and I'll see you a little bit.
Halfway home, stuck in the middle, like the call on my phone. Speak like a riddle.
Hi, it's a few days later. It's been a while since I've given an update. Even though I haven't been filming these past few days, I have been reading books. Just not the books that you guys would expect me to read. I have been reading baby books, which are still books, but nothing that you guys would be really interested in. So right now, I'm actually on my way to return an Amazon product for Moon. He built his own computer. I guess the motherboard that he got wasn't really working properly, so we switched it, and now it's working properly, so I gotta return that first motherboard. And then, of course, I just have a bunch of errands to do. So yeah, I finished the Fallon Ballard book. It's really cute. I really liked how it starts right away. There's not too much fluff in the beginning and it just goes with one chapter for the background. So let me go home and give you a better thorough review. So yeah, I didn't end up filming a more in-depth review of this book because the next time I pressed record on the video was after I gave birth. So I'll let you know that I rated this book a 4.25 stars and I really enjoyed this read. I cannot wait for my next Fallon Ballard book. I just really liked how it was wrapped up at the end. It was really satisfying and I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I wish this could have happened. It was like, okay, thank goodness this happened. So after I gave birth and I felt like I had the time and the energy to read a book for this YouTube channel and just in general instead of reading baby books, the timing worked out well where Ali Hazelwood's new book, Deep End, was ready for me to pick up at the library. I'm currently reading Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. They are both attending Stanford and are athletes in water sports. And the premise is kind of weird and not my favorite because basically our female main character gets introduced to her friend's ex-boyfriend. That friend basically just says, hey, you guys are both into the same kinks. Why don't you guys hook up since we're broken up? So I don't know that I like that. That's a little weird, right? Even if they're broken up, that's still your friend's ex-boyfriend. No matter how cool she is with it, and even if she set it up for you. I'm like halfway through there, so I'm gonna keep reading and see if it gets better, because so far the premise I'm not totally into. But for now, I have acupuncture and some errands to run, so let's go.
Saw your silhouette in the backlight. Swear we could have met in a past life. Dreaming every night like the last time. So I end all my days with you.
Hi. Okay, I finished Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I just returned the book because it was due today. Thank goodness I was even able to finish the book. I did not like it that much, honestly. It probably is one of the least favorite out of the Ali Hazelwood books. The premise itself also I just didn't like. It was, like I said earlier, the whole story is basically our female main character and the male main character. They are both student athletes at Stanford. They're both hoping to go to med school and want to become doctors, which is great. We love when the main characters are very smart. The problem is, so that one friend, Penn, gets drunk one night and says, hey, you two should hook up because we're already broken up and you guys like the same kink in the room, in the bedroom. Which is like, okay, but this is still your friend's ex-boyfriend. How is it not gonna get messy if you guys are all hanging out all the time? That is super weird. So it's like, as you're reading the story, of course, that love triangle is going to become complicated and you don't know, at least I didn't know who to root for, because in real life, your friend is going out with your ex-boyfriend, which is kind of weird, you know, girl code. But also from the female main character's point of view, your friend gave you the green light and you really like the guy. And you're reading from the female main character's perspective. So you kind of like, you're biased to have her win or have her get her way. So it's like I was not loving the whole story and the whole situation, and then they try to make it all like, oh, who's gonna be the annoying person, which I didn't appreciate. So I was kind of conflicted on who I was even rooting for the whole time. And then also the chemistry. I don't mind the bedroom kinks, fine, you like whatever you like, but the chemistry just to me wasn't really there. I didn't really feel it. Actually, I kind of skipped a lot of it. Overall, I was debating between a 2.5 or 3 stars, and people are coming into the car next to me, so I'll be right back. They're still in the car next to me, but it's a family, so they're taking a while. So I'm just gonna say it. I thought about it a little bit more. I think I'm gonna give it a 2.5 stars and not a 3 stars, because I really just did not enjoy it. It was a very much just let's get this over with kind of thing. Oh, but there was one cool thing though. Dr. Adam effing Carlson made a cameo, and Olive made a cameo in this book, which I was like, oh, cool. The worlds connect. But yeah, overall 2.5 stars. It was just like something to get over with. Not something that I would recommend, honestly. So these are the newly released books that I read for this video. I am currently in the middle of another one, so please look out for it in the next video. I'll see you later. Bye!